If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR 500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.
My name is Scott Reister. I'm the creator of North American Racing League, also a NARL Porsche Cup driver.
If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR 500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park.
Watkins Glen International has long been a favorite among American and international road racers for good reason. A staple on NASCAR calendars for 40 years, it seems like, if not longer. A staple in Formula One way back when, a staple in IndyCar and IMSA for many years. Watkins Glen is the American road course, and certainly one of the first courses that come to mind when you think of any of those series running on a road course in America. We're here this evening with Mustangs on the racetrack. The Barber Ford Mustang Club moves on into Watkins Glen, New York for round number 2 of 6. It's a short season if you look at it as just 6 races, Zach Murtis, as I welcome you into the booth. But 6 races over the course of 6 months kind of does go on for a little while. There's plenty of time in between rounds to get your practice in, familiarize yourself with the circuit, and get ready for this great race that we have on hand this evening. Thanks for joining us here at Pit Stop TV. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, Zach Murtis alongside, and Zach, this is going to be a fun one. Watkins Glen is never a bad race, no matter the car, especially with these Ford Mustangs taken to the racetrack. It should be a good night.
Absolutely. Watkins Glen always produces some great racing, especially when you got the boot added on. Usually a lot of times when you see Watkins Glen running nowadays, it's the NASCAR configuration with the chicane on the backstretch and, you know, just everything added in between. But no chicane tonight, no bus stop. Straight off of turn 4 from the S's, it's all the way down the back straightaway into turn number 5. And then it's a wide sweeping right-hander through the carousel into the chute. You don't go down the short chute into what would be turn 7, I believe, for NASCAR. You're going straight into the chute, into the laces, the toe, and the heel, out through 6, 7, and 8, into 9, down through the short chute, what is a short chute to turn 10, to 11, back onto the front stretch, and that hard 90-degree right-hander going into turn 1. That is going to be where everybody catches themselves out. There's a lot of wheel hopping that can be made there. It's the easiest corner to mess up at this track, and I think these guys are in for a great race tonight.
And of course, we are in a classic H-pattern shifting car. Love that with some American muscle under the hood. Should be fun this evening. No lap time to go off of for these drivers coming into this evening, at least on our fast iRacing qualifying lap rundown there. But we are so far right around 2 minutes around this track, about 2 minutes and 1 second so far in qualifying as those times sink down a little bit. Let's take a look at point standings coming into this evening, and here you have your first look at this season's championship picture. After round 1 at Charlotte some 3-4 weeks ago, Kevin Parrish leads the way in one of the most diverse top 10s I've ever seen on iRacing. 9 different clubs and regions represented in this top 10, Zach. That is a large number. 9 of 10. The only repeat club that I see is Club Ohio, which is not one you would expect. We've got Club Ohio, we've got Carolina, Virginia, Brazil, Texas, Australia, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Florida between Kevin Parrish, Aaron Smith, Zachary Lovelace, Rafael Franco, Austin Knight, David Trumbley, Edward Foster, Andrew Burr, Ryan Campbell, and Logan Keys. And this is a pretty wide points payout as well. Each position is going to mean a ton on the racetrack, which means you have to start executing now if you haven't been already.
Yeah, I'm a level with you. I've never even seen some of these club logos. I've only really ever seen the Carolina logo. Being from, North Carolina myself, that's the club that I've been in since I've been on iRacing. So it's really great to see a lot of these clubs represented in the top 10 in points, and the diversity amongst it as well. You've got Ohio, Virginia, Carolina, just jump all the way down to Brazil, jump all the way to the other side of the globe in Australia, and then right back into here for Texas, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Florida. You're all over the place, and it's so great to see so many diverse drivers from different fields of racing coming into something like this and just showing off some pure American muscle on a pure American track, and just, letting loose tonight, really.
We take a look here at the schedule for this season. Next up after this evening, we head out to Road Atlanta on September 8th on the full course there, which should be a whole lot of fun. But we have Watkins Glen this evening, the classic boot in the afternoon, sun fully up in the sky. Weather conditions are going to be a little bit warm for sure, and certainly, as take a look at the rest of the schedule, there's a lot of great American racetracks, the only exception being Brands Hatch, because it's out in Kent, England, which should be a whole lot of fun as well as race into the night there in round number 5. But otherwise, sunny day races for Road Atlanta, Barber, and Lime Rock Park. And just those kind of oddities for Charlotte and Brands Hatch. We'll be racing under the lights, or I guess at Brands Hatch, into the sheer darkness over the hill and through the woods to grandmother's house there in Kent, England. Should be a lot of fun, but let's get into Watkins Glen this evening, because as I mentioned, we've got to get through round number 2, and Rafael Franco is fastest so far in qualifying. Take a look here. Well, that changes. Take a look here at the times on the left side of your screen. Kevin Parrish fastest, Rafael Franco second quick now in the number 36 car that you see on your screen. 0.6 of a second now off of pole position. Austin Knight currently checks in at 3rd, Logan Keys 4th, and Zachary Lovelace 5th. I don't yet see the number 70 of Aaron Smith, which really surprises me, but that means a free spot's going to open up at 2nd in the standings.
Now, this is one great thing that is also going on. This is group qualifying. These are not single car runs. These guys are out here running times together. You can take advantage of getting maybe even just a little bit of a tow off of the car in front of you, maybe a little bit of a push from a car behind you. It's all of the different aspects that can really happen when it comes to group qualifying. I mean, just look at these two right here. It's so easy to be able to get a draft off the car in front of you and take that and use the momentum to carry it forward throughout really the remainder of your qualifying lap.
Austin Knight picked up some time there on his 3rd timed lap around the racetrack. Ryan Campbell's ahead of these bunch. And actually slowing down just ahead of them as well. This is going to be tough for a guy like Austin Knight, who's trying to come up over the hill, and sure enough, I think it slowed him down a little bit, but Campbell does get out of the way over the top of the S's. Let's look around the rest of the field and take a look at some paint schemes, and oh boy, there's a lot going on here on this backstretch. Kevin Parrish here in car 69 from Air Kinetics is going to pull over and get out of the way. Meanwhile, how about Logan Keys, currently 5th on the timing charts in car number 43. Zachary Lovelace in the Mustang from Texas Speed. Should be a lot of fun to watch that car once again this week in car number 33. Cat Wheeler out there in car number 60, kind of a classic looking black and white racing stripe Mustang, although with a little bit of pink trim. I like it. Andrew Baker in car number 7 with a kind of NASCAR style DeWalt paint scheme.
Big fan of yellow and black, just saying. Big fan.
Here's Patrick DeSaulnier in car number 93, kind of a nod to the old Falcon paint schemes. We, of course, got David Clark in car number 16. This is a very classic-looking Mustang. I really, really enjoy that. Just simple blue with matte black hood. I really enjoy that. Dustin Sluter, of course, in the also very classic white Ford Mustang with blue racing stripes. Always looks good, along with Eric Weiland in the black and gold Spark number 10. Blair Patterson is here this evening in the number 91, also black and gold with McConey setup shop there on the hood. Elliot Lange in the always delicious Oreo number 5. David Tremblay checking in the Intel number 96. Ryan Lange is here in the number 31. And that's a look through your field of paint schemes as qualifying continues on. 4 minutes left to go in qualifying here, Zach. Let's take stock of the weather conditions this evening. 77.7 degrees in the air. That means 107 on track. Partly cloudy. That's pretty decently warm.
That's going to be a pretty slick track. These guys are going to be fighting some very loose race cars, but as they say, loose is fast. But if you take a look at the times right now, this field is spread out by a large margin. You've got 0.6 from Parrish to Franco. That's first and second. That's just first and second. All the way down to the top 10, there's a division of 2.3 seconds. So this field is definitely getting spread out. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to adapt when it comes to race conditions, if we're going to see a big spread throughout the field or if we're going to see some tight racing. It's going to be hard to tell at this point, depending on how these guys match up in the last 3.5 minutes here in qualifying.
This is an onboard with Zach Lovelace in what will likely be one of his final 2 laps or so of qualifying, currently on track with 3 minutes to go in the mid portion of the lap, headed into turn number 6 through the laces. We'll just ride on board here with Zach Lovelace for a minute and check out how he attacks each and every corner here in the Mustang. I know a fan favorite here in car number 33. Turn 7, the toe of the boot, a very difficult corner, so deceiving. It feels like you can go faster. It feels like maybe you have to go slower. You never really get it right. You really just have to set it into the quarter and hang on for dear life, hope that you don't get too tight or too loose on exit. and get through the corner with some semblance of speed as you head down to turn number 8. Also a very deceiving apex. Feels like you can go a bit faster, but the track kind of falls away from you and suddenly you're out on the exit curbing. Then up here at turn number 9, very, very tough coming over the hill. Easy to lose the rear end and get the car a little bit slidey, like we've seen a few tire streaks there, skid marks on the racetrack. Turns 10 and 11, though, very simple compared to the previous 3 or 4 that came before it.
Yeah, 10 and 11 are very, I'm not going to say flat out, but they're a lot more high speed than the rest of the track. And, you know, coming up off of turn number 9 after coming out of the boot, it's so easy to step out the car or when the banking changes to go flat. As Lovelace right here, a 201.9. That I do not think that will improve him position-wise, but that should be his best time moving forward.
It was. Picks him up a little bit, gets him closer to Austin Knight, who is down the backstretch towards the carousel as we speak. Kevin Parrish, current pole sitter in car 69, has Rafael Franco literally out his tailpipes right now. Rafael trying to get a draft on the backstretch, and he very well could use this to try and get closer, if not ahead of Kevin Parrish. I say closer first, because that is a large gap to make up. 0.6 of a second this late in qualifying is hard to find.
Yes, but with how far back he is, he has the ability to be able to get that draft and not have to really slow down or make any adjustments to his line. He's able to take that draft, work with it, and still be able to push the car because he's not super close to Kevin Parrish just yet, but he's still probably going to be feeling effects of those dirty air. Rafael Franco just trying to find, like you said, Andrew, just 0.6. That's all he needs. You can see how much he is closing in on Parrish in the 69, but only time will tell as they roll through the remainder of the boot, about to come back to the start-finish line here with 54 seconds left on the clock.
They'll have just enough time to wrap up these laps, both Parrish and Franco. Other drivers, I'm not so sure. Austin Knight into turn 11, he'll have time. Turn 10, rather, he'll have time, although this looks like an outlap, actually, for car 210. Lovelace may just have enough time as he heads into turn number 9. He's actually ahead, no, just behind Parrish and Franco. Lovelace may be the final car, actually, to turn a lap time of this bunch. He is very, very close to that cutoff. Elliott Lange goes 12th quick. Trumbley, I don't think he'll wrap this lap up. So Parrish and Franco, that's where our eyes will go in this qualifying session. Parrish already has pole. Can he go faster? How about Rafael Franco trying to beat a 201.1? Oh, no cigar.
My goodness. That was very close, though.
And Lovelace will come into the pit lane, and that will just about wrap up. No, not at all wrap up our qualifying session. We're actually headed into extra time. I didn't think we would get that. So extra time here in our qualifying session of about 3 minutes means Trumbley and Lange still have a chance. And actually, that means Parrish and Franco still have a chance as well, Zach. If they've burned off enough fuel to go a little bit faster, each one of them has a chance still to go even faster in this qualifying session. Last time around, Franco was just about 1/4 of a tenth slower than his best lap time, while Kevin Parrish last lap was about 0.2 off. So these two are in the neighborhood of some really quick lap times, but right now it looks like Franco actually trending closer to beating his previous best.
Well, being an open qualifying session, this is the cooldown time. So as long as they crossed the line before the time ran out, as Franco took a big sidestep, they should be able to finish their laps here. But this will be their last laps able to take. As we ride on board the 36 of Franco, he is wheeling and dealing that Ford Performance racing car around this track, trying to see if he can gain any time. Hopefully, he's able to do well here, going into the braking zone. All the way down to third gear. You can see how much he is up on that wheel, just trying to get that car where it needs to be. He might actually be able to beat his time here. Oh, a little bit touched the grass. That might hurt him just a little bit.
Grab the grass on entry there to turn 9. Sometimes, though, in a Mustang, that can actually really help you get the car to rotate early and complete a lot of your corner early. You can get a better run out of the corner sometimes, as Austin Knight goes to P2 in qualifying, suddenly crushing a big lap time at a 201.591. So if Franco wants to get his spot back, he's got to go out there and beat a 201.5. Let's see what Parrish does across the line. He looks to go no quicker. Rafael Franco goes a half second slower, and that is it for qualifying. Trumbley may get, no, he's going to spin around maybe and go off track and lose everything he had going. So that effectively is the end of our qualifying session at Watkins Glen, and it comes to a screeching halt, not only for David Tremblay, but also for Rafael Franco, losing the second spot in the closing moments. Before we go to the race session, I do want to say a big thank you, a big shout out to our partners, of course, with this series. You have to mention Barber Ford. That, I think, goes without saying. BarberFord.net. Find out more information about their dealership. And, of course, BK Paints on Facebook and Admin Box. 20 seconds left in qualifying. A quick shout out as well to our partners here at Pit Stop TV. See there, the partners of the league on the left side of your screen, but also the partners here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Media, SimCams, ETVO, and CC's Business. As we get ready for round number 2, I'm not necessarily a praying man, not usually anyways, but I do want to extend some thoughts and prayers out to some of those very close to me. They know who they are. Hopefully they're watching this evening that we're going to crash earlier today. That is why this race is actually delayed, and I really want to thank Dustin Sluter and everybody at the Barber Ford Mustang Club for delaying this race ever so slightly so that we could get this broadcast in and still handle what we had going on earlier today. Scary situation, pretty gnarly accident, but thankfully everyone is okay. Just really shaken up, and of course left picking up some pieces afterwards. So if we could just take that moment to at least think about that as we head to the grid, that'd be appreciated. And of course, Kevin Parrish will lead us to the grid this evening in car number 69. And Zach will get right down to it then. On the starting grid, car number 69, taking us to the green flag, Kevin Parrish with the best lap time of qualifying. No surprise, he won, of course, at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I think he'll be the car to beat, especially with no Aaron Smith in the field. It's going to be that much more difficult. Austin Knight rolls off from the second spot this evening. Starting third, it's Rafael Franco, the lone Brazilian, in car number 36. Ryan Campbell rolls off this grid from the fourth spot on the outside of row number 2 with Zachary Lovelace in the Mustang. From 5th position, Logan Keys will start from 6th. Starting 7th in car number 60, Cat Wheeler. In a very classic looking Mustang, Andrew Baker rolls off from 8th in the DeWalt Mustang. Patrick DeSaulnier will start from 9th, and around at your top 10 today, car number 16, David Clark.
Moving on outside the top 10 now, we have Eric Weiland in the 10 car starting 11th, and Elliott Lang in the 5 car starting 12th on the outside of row number 6. Dustin Sluter and Blair Patterson in the 15 and the 91. And then David Trumley and Ryan Lang are your final 2 cars to take on qualifying. I believe Ryan in the 31 was the only car. Oh, no, excuse me. Brent Keith was the only car not to set a lap time in qualifying tonight. But that is 16 cars on the grid, Andrew. And I think it's time to go green flag racing here.
That it is. The iRacing.com pace car will roll off away from the grid here in just a moment. There you go. Officially over into pre-race conditions. And while these drivers roll away, let's take a look at tonight's Whiplash Media SimCams race details. It's a 45-minute race, open setup, which means you can do anything to the race car that you want, whether it's tire pressures, suspension, shocks, wing, whatever. As long as it can be adjusted on the car, you can mess with it to your liking. That said, there are base setups provided by Maconi Setup Shop that help a lot of these drivers get up to speed, so a big shout out as well goes out to Maconi. 17 incident limit means if you go off track, that's 1x. If you hit another car, that's usually 4x. If you hit a wall, that's usually 2. If you get 17 of those, or if you spin, actually, if you lose control, it's also 2. If you get 17 of those incidents, you will be black flagged and have to come down the pit lane and serve a penalty. I believe there is a stipulation. Basically, you just serve a drive-through and head back out there for 17 more incidents, and then have to serve a drive-through after 34. So that's kind of how that all breaks down. And Zach, that's very important at a place like Watkins Glen. We saw it be an issue at Charlotte a few weeks ago. I think it'll come into play again this evening here at Watkins Glen.
Absolutely. It's going to make tonight very, very interesting. These guys are all super talented when it comes to these cars, and I'm really excited to see how this green flag is going to go going down into turn 1. I know it's obviously a tricky spot. Whatever car you're in, whether it be the GTP cars, the NASCAR Cup cars, Indy cars, Formula 1 cars, whatever you're doing going into turn 1 at Watkins Glen, you better be prepared for some bumping and beating and banging. And honestly, that's what I'm looking forward to tonight.
Well, down into the boot we go. Let's remind you of the extra bit of track here compared to the NASCAR course. We're not taking the bus stop on the backstretch. We're going straight into the carousel at speed about 140 miles per hour in these Mustangs, potentially a bit faster in the draft. Then rolling off into the area where we're at now, through the chute, through the laces of the boot, into turn number 6, then to the toe where we currently are, through turn 7, an uphill carousel that really is deceiving, along with turn number 8 at the heel. Turn 9 brings you right back to the NASCAR course and into what would be turn number 6, as they now number those corners, and back with everything else for the Cup course and just the general course here at Watkins Glen International. It is a pleasure, as always, to have you watching along with us this evening. A reminder, we have more races this season. This is not it. Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber, Brands Hatch, and Lime Rock Park. Make your picks now, Zach. Of course, we'll block off that Kevin Parrish guy. He's on pole. You can't pick him. That'd be too easy. Who you got?
Well, honestly, I feel like it's too soon to pick, but I'm looking at that third place car right there, that 36. I think Franco is going to have quite a bit of time trying to get that lead going in turn 1, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how this race progresses. But I wouldn't count him out. I think he's going to be a good shot at winning this race.
The iRacing.com pace car is going to get the heck out of the way and leave these guys to it. Down the front stretch at Watkins Glen, we're going to turn things over to the drivers. We are green. And already a land rush through the first corner of the 90 here at Watkins Glen. Such an important turn, whether it's lap 1 or lap 100, it doesn't matter. You've got to get through there, right? These drivers do so lap 1.
Yeah, up through the S's there, single filed out pretty much all the way throughout the field. You can see a couple of side-by-side battles as they go through the remaining portion of the S's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the whole top 10, the rest of the field. Now single filed out. All 16 cars going straight down the back straightaway. Usually the bus stop camera right there, but they're going to keep going as we got a fight going into the carousel. The leaders are all bumper to bumper as they go through the corner heading into the chute.
Jump in the helmet here of Austin Knight as he pursues your race leader Kevin Parrish at turn number 6. Bumper to bumper they were down the backstretch for their top 2 positions, bump drafting into the carousel, and now they kind of slinky back out a little bit, spread out as we have one car spinning. Dustin Sluter slow out of turn number 6 through the laces. One car making contact up ahead. I think that was Andrew Baker that was Baker getting moved, I think, by DeSaulnier in the 93. Hard to say, but everybody gets through those couple of corners. No, they don't. Blair Patterson in trouble out of turn 7. Big crash, one in the air.
Ooh, we got one on their roof.
Wow.
And that is going to be one very quick tow to the
The
pit lane.
Lange brothers involved. We'll come back and get a replay of that in just a moment, but your leaders heading through turn 9 to wrap up lap 1 here in just a couple of more corners to see the rest of the field in tow. Not too spread out after one lap, I will say, but 43 more minutes on the clock. These guys have a lot of racing to go.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure they'll have a pit stop ahead of them at some point. There's a lot of chances for some fuel strategy and some tire strategy. A big shakeup can always happen, and always and every time there's any cars on the racetrack, there's a chance of mistakes happening from anybody. So just keep your wits about you at this point as we look back on, well, what happened coming through the hairpin turn. Oh,
this is joining the back end of it. You see the 5 car up in the air. That was Elliott Lange. Hard to keep those two in track, but we saw one heck of an incident. This is everything that was happening beforehand through turn number 6. Watch this whole bunch involving Elliott and Dustin Sluter, who got off track a little sideways. Elliott goes out wide, comes back across, trying to save it, gets into Trumbley in the 96, and then something happens with these guys on corner exit. Watch the Oreo car alongside his brother Ryan, Elliott and Ryan Lange. Oh! Wow, Patterson got sideways ahead of them, and wow.
The net code giveth and the net code taketh away.
Incredible. That is one heck of a wreck.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call the track surface. Not necessarily agreeing with you, it just caught the car at a wrong angle
What
and
in the world?
straight up in the air. Welcome to iRacing, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, let's get right on board with Elliott Lange. This could be a little scary. Grab your popcorn now. It's about to spill, as there's that impact already, and then whoa!
Into the air.
Incredible.
Those who experience motion sickness are more than welcome to turn away now. Well, 5 seconds sooner, probably.
We did have another incident. Patrick DeSaulnier turned around recently. This is out of turn 6. Here's the onboard with him, and he just slowly goes around. Already had some damage. Does a bit of a spin. And I think Blair Patterson, maybe Zachary Lovelace, somebody also had trouble somewhere up ahead. This is Lovelace with Ryan Campbell. I'm not so sure. Maybe it was just a pass, but I saw timing and scoring light up red, indicating that something had happened. So, anyways, we'll jump back to live picture because it's important that we do so with already 2 laps in the books on to lap number 3, and there have been faster pairs handed out to Elliott Lange and to Ryan Lange. There's Luke Elliott in car number 5. Blair Patterson, of course, has a lot of damage in that 91 car. That is a lot of damage to that poor Ford Mustang.
Quite a bit of front end damage. Might be down on a little bit of horsepower.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not too sure how well he's going to be able to continue moving forward. But I will say I've been watching the ticker. I've been seeing how these guys are going. Franco went purple not a lap ago. And they are starting to close in on Parrish in the 69 and might bring the fight to him as the rest of the field is kind of just working on their own little battles here and there.
David Clark, Andrew Baker racing here for the 8th and 9th positions. Clark on the outside in that blue 16 late into the brakes into turn number 6. Beautiful pass, and that is such a good looking car. That, I think, is the best looking car we have in the field just because it's classic looking. It looks like a Mustang that you would actually see on the racetrack. That is so cool. Something about it just really catches my eye, along with Andrew Baker here in the 7 car being passed up. And we've got a problem. Patrick DeSaulnier has towed the pit lane.
Might be from his earlier spin, or he might have honestly had another incident on track.
Well, here's a look at it for the number 93 out of New England.
Like, he just got loose going into the carousel, hit the grass, and around she goes and pancaked the right side wall. And, oh, my goodness, is the steering broken, or did he just hang it right there?
Well, if you recall, he was involved in that massive crash through turn 7 and then had an auxiliary incident after the fact, and there, I think, having more of an incident as a result of all of that. But our race leaders head out of turn number 1 now with 3 laps in the books. On to lap number 4, all in a line, our top 3. Kevin Parrish, Austin Knight, and Rafael Franco. We spoke to Austin Knight during the race a few weeks ago at Charlotte. We'll plan to do so again here this evening. There's a few drivers that want to. Dustin Sluter's one of them out in the Discord chat. Kevin Parrish, our race leader's one of them. So we'll make our rounds once this race really gets going, but we'll let them settle in first.
Absolutely. You can see here, just coming down the backstretch, you can see the gap close up. It was about a second on the front stretch. Now it's down to about 7/10 to Franco. About 2/10 to Knight, and it's so hard to get these cars woed up in the braking zone, especially with this dirty air. You can see how much Franco closed up on Austin Knight and how much Austin Knight lost to Kevin Parrish. Really, it was 2/10 going into the carousel. Now it's about 4.5 as they roll through the chute into the boot, coming down to the toe, and, well, they are almost equal distance apart from each other.
Equidistant, we call that, although there is a slightly larger gap between first and second as they run through turn number 7, and Rafael looks like he is putting just a little more pressure on it. It's interesting because Austin Knight certainly is feeling a little bit of dirty air. There isn't a ton here because there isn't really much to go off of as far as downforce devices. You do have a pretty large front splitter and a pretty large rear wing, but all things considered, with how high up off the ground it is, it doesn't do a ton. It's more so just for stability's sake, but there certainly is some aero wash, and you would think Rafael Franco would be feeling double the aero wash with 2 cars in front of him, but right now it looks like he's much more comfortable in it. Potentially some extra adjustments done to that 36 car to help it handle in situations like this and make a little more front grip. You also have to wonder then if that car is very, very good in tighter conditions, tighter air like this, Zach, much like at the Indy 500. If you have a really good car in traffic on your own, it might be a little bit sketchy, a little bit scary, a little bit loose. So we'll have to watch that for the 36 car if he becomes separated and gets into some clean airs. We've got a pitter, Logan Keys, here on lap number 5.
Yeah, Logan Keys was running up in the 4th spot. He was in the fight between Zachary Lovelace and Campbell in the 23. They had their own little group going on as the top 3 in front of them had their own group going on, and, well, Keys in the box. It looks like.
I hope this isn't already an incident penalty.
I would hope so.
I think that was a top up on fuel.
It might have been. I think I saw a little bit of damage getting fixed as well.
I think that ends up being just kind of topping up on fuel, and wow, that gold stripe on the back of the car, wow, that really pops. I hadn't even noticed that. We hadn't really seen it in good light yet, but that paint scheme for Logan Keys and Blair Patterson really is nice in the right light. Meanwhile, our race leader is already into the boot. Kevin Parrish, Austin Knight, Rafael Franco. And I go back to that handling conversation. There isn't a ton you can do to this car in the setups, but you certainly can still adjust on it, and really, the adjustment is going to grow larger as the race goes on, Zach, because, right, if you adjust it a little bit for the start of the run, you're going to wear your tires a certain way, especially if you have more or less camber on the tire. So that's going to wear the tires a certain way, whether it's tire wear, physical rubber being burned off the tire, or just the way it's going to build temperatures. And that is going to get worsened or potentially just exemplified as the run goes on. So if a car is a bit free right now, that could burn off rear tires and the car could swing a totally different way. It could be way tighter in the latter part of a run, or the complete opposite. We'll have to wait and see. But it's interesting how they can make these adjustments. And of course, weather conditions, it's pretty hot out there for a New York day here in August. Decent track temp of 103, partly cloudy. We haven't caught a cloud yet. I say that and it looks like it's getting a little bit darker out there on the racetrack, but I think if we have a really good car in traffic again for Rafael Franco, that means he's probably going to turn pretty well on his own. And again, he could be free and burn up a little bit of extra rear tire or something potentially.
It's definitely a possibility. One thing I've actually been noticing is Rafael Franco is a lot faster when it comes to the more technical corners, going into, the boot, into the chute, past the carousel. He closes up a lot more time there, but as you can see here, the draft is very powerful. Looks like he's backing up just a little bit, because we got a fight coming off of the S's. 3, almost 4 cars strong going down into the carousel. They're going to be side by side.
A big group here. This is, it looks like 6th, 7th, 8th, maybe even 9th, 5 cars under a blanket, beginning with David Clark in the 6th spot. Cat Wheeler now way outside, opening up a 3-wide situation that Andrew Baker wisely backs out of, as we'll go straight into the helmet of Baker in the number 7 car. This is a great look at exactly what you have to deal with in one of these spec Mustang races. I love this car so much. It races so nicely. This is peak spec road racing, in my opinion. There's of course a large affinity in road racing for the Mazda Miata. It races great, but I think the Mustang personally races a bit better because it's just big, boxy, boaty, and it's got that American V8 under the hood.
Yeah, you can see just how much these fights are really costing Cat Wheeler, losing 3 positions there, all the way back down to the 9th position as everybody single files back out, and steadily, almost a little bit of contact between Clark and Weiland going up the hill just a little bit, and into 10 and 11, they are almost bumper to bumper.
David Clark backing up a little bit to that Weiland machine. Here's the onboard from Clark looking back.
A little bit of a run coming off of 11.
Right now it's tracking to Baker. It's going to change at the start-finish line unless Weiland can get there first. That's not going to be the case, though. You see Weiland now pulling to the inside, putting himself in position for turn number 1 to 90, and sure enough, on the inside goes Weiland. Here comes Baker trying to take advantage, but the metallic blue Mustang on the outside, not yet to be beat. David Clark, a great run out of the corner. 3 wide, they head of the S's. Baker backs out for a moment, but he's still there, and now he backs out of it. And here comes Cat Wheeler.
What a move right there. Trumley takes advantage of the situation, goes up to 9th. These guys are fighting. Forget the leaders. This is where the action's at in the mid-pack. Cat Wheeler on the back bumper.
Wow.
16 Clark, a bump draft down the backstretch, going into the carousel. Oh,
look at how close they are.
Just so close together. I'm going to have to agree with you. This is some top-tier spec racing. Cat Wheeler way wide off the white line, gonna lose a spot here to Baker in the in the 7. And oh my goodness, these guys are really going at it right now.
Leading this group is David Clark in that blue 16. Trumbley has made his way through up into the 8th spot now, putting pressure on the 10 of Weiland. And all you have to do is put some pressure. Pop up in the mirrors. Anytime you look in the mirror, even if you know you're in a Mustang race, anytime you look in the mirror and see one of these big burly Mustangs peeking around the corner, it's going to intimidate you at least a little bit. And sure enough, right now, I think it's getting to Weiland ever so slightly, backing up to Trumbley a little bit into turn number 8 now. That door opening up potentially for turn 1 as Rafael Franco gets on by Austin Knight. I think a mistake from the 210 out of turn 9. I see some right side damage to that Mustang. That could have been a slip up out of the corner and contact with the outside wall.
Yeah, Rafael Franco has been tracking really good, catching Austin Knight, and now he's got a clear track in front of him to go catch the leaders. But the fight still remains at the later, in the later half of the top 10, as well, everyone's gotten a little bit more single filed out, but that's the big thing about road racing is you got to pick and choose your battles. You got to choose when you want to fight them, you know, when to fold them and when to hold them. And it looks like Clark is running away from these guys now.
Go back and see what happened to Austin Knight potentially. We'll have to go back even further. This was a while ago now, 30, 40, 50 seconds ago, but a very important moment that we're going to have to take a look at here. Austin Knight, that white, blue, and yellow machine out of turn number 9. Does he just get a little bit loose? Gets a bump from Rafael Franco. Wow.
I think Franco just went to go for the move and didn't anticipate he was going to get that run so quickly and ended up just making contact.
Yeah, I highly doubt that was, well, it wasn't in any way intentional. You saw Franco was trying to pull around and get to the left side. Oh, I think it was a missed shift.
It could have been.
In which case, I'm sure Austin Knight will obviously know that and be a lot less upset. Let's listen on board. Watch the dash as well.
See the red lights up there. That's how you know you're at the limit.
Let's listen. Yep.
Yep, there it is.
Wow.
Missed the shift from, I think that was 3rd to 4th.
Second into 3rd, I thought it was. Regardless, that's a very important shift to make. And I'm trying to think. 2nd into 3rd. Yeah, if he's on an H pattern, I have no clue if he is. That's an interesting shift to miss. Usually it's downshifts that you get a little bit wrong. Or the pull from 3rd to 4th might pull towards you and pop it at a 2nd, but that would usually end in a motor expiration, and thankfully that's not the case here.
If I'm not mistaken, it's 1st is down, 2nd's up, and then it's a straight down to 3rd. So that should have been a relatively easy shift, but obviously shifting mistakes are still common. Even if you don't miss the lever, you can always miss the clutch, and you know, a lot of us have had that. Oh boy.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the car, because I know NASCAR transmissions, I believe, are 1st is up, 2nd is down, 3rd is up and away, and 4th is down and away. And it's that shift that at Pocono you would see a lot of drivers mess up. I know Dale Jr. has done it. That 3rd to 4th pull, if you're holding the shifter wrong, and that's why you've seen NASCAR drivers actually change the way they hold the shifter. As here's a fight, Weiland on the right side of Clark up the S's, but a lot of drivers will actually put their hand on the left side of the shifter in a left-hand drive car. That way they're pushing it away from them as they shift into 4th gear. I don't know if he's on an H pattern or not, but regardless, I think it was the 2nd to 3rd shift, which is an interesting one to miss as contact from Trumbley gets Clark a bit squirrely.
Just a little bit. It's going to upset the line going into the carousel, and Trumbley is going to be there, but Baker and Wheeler are still fighting for that 9th position, and it looks like Baker is going to take it, rolling through, and is going to hang on to that 9th place spot as they are once again single filed out. Clark trying to catch Weiland for that 6th place position.
Worth mentioning as well, our race leaders are very close. Pit stops are looming for these guys as Rafael Franco puts pressure here on the Aerokinetics 15 of Kevin Parrish.
And Franco's really been letting the car and the track come to him. He went purple not long ago, and nobody has really topped that lap time. Obviously, with tire wear being a factor, the lap times aren't going to be up to what they were earlier on in the race. But Franco has really been hanging on to that thing. The track's just been coming to him. He closed a lot of time. He closed almost a full second from when he got past Austin Knight, and now it's time to track down Kevin Parrish in that 69 and take that lead away.
And Raphael is pacing himself right now, just waiting. Doesn't want to make a move too early here on Parrish. Waiting there into turn one. He was doing the same thing behind Austin Knight earlier in the race when they were all three drafting, and Franco was the last of those three cars in a line. He was lifting before the carousel. Again, waiting, biding his time, waiting for the right opportunity. And certainly with 26 minutes to go, that right opportunity is not just yet. Got to wait until after the pit stops to race for the race win. Still so much to go. While these guys have finally gotten settled in, what do you say we dial up the guy who's got the best seat in the house for the race lead battle currently? That's Austin Knight currently running in the third spot, and I'm sure he's watching the broadcast again, so I'll give him a moment to at least prepare himself. Hopefully it'll come over the airwaves to him and he can kind of prep, and we'll grab him here out of turn number 6. That way hopefully it's at least out of the corner. But Austin Knight joining us this evening from position number 3. And Austin, we talked to you at Charlotte last race, and right now, a bit of a different situation. You're looking at the race lead out your windshield. What are you thinking?
You know, we got a good fight up ahead. Kevin and I, we started first and second. We had a little bit of a miscommunication at the start where we forgot this wasn't PCC. We accidentally jumped it by about half a second. Sorry. But yeah, had a little bit of mischief. Down to third right now, but currently right now, I'm just running a fuel calculator, and I'm going to make you guys a little bit happy. I'm fuel saving. This is going to have a pit stop in it.
We love fuel saving, that's for sure, and certainly we also live for pit stops here at Pit Stop TV. But how about the way the car is handling after that contact with Franco and the outside wall? We heard the miss shift. I think it was second to third. Interesting shift to miss. What happened?
It was third to fourth, actually.
Okay.
I was right.
And Zach gets the $50.
Thank you, sir.
So was it pulling towards you on an H pattern, or did you just miss the clutch?
I do not have an H pattern, actually. I'm driving on a Formula rim. I do not have a clutch paddle, actually. I'm actually using a button as my clutch.
Love it.
I just pushed down the button, I released it, and I just mistimed it. And, oh boy. You know, if I get that Fanatec H pattern raffle, I'd be pretty happy.
That's right, there is that Fanatec H pattern up for grabs, which only fits this series so well. But how about this battle as well? Obviously, Raphael's been lifting. I think you've been lifting.
Lifting. I believe Kevin is lifting too. We all just kind of we're not pushing this at all. We are taking our time. Currently, I'm looking at about 2 gallons of fuel needed if the race goes over. The lowest I've seen it so far is about 1.4. So we're at the edge. If we could keep this up, maybe this could be a splash and dash. But this is going to be interesting right now, and it's definitely between who knows how to do their pit stops right.
And I mentioned, of course, setup adjustments and whatnot earlier in the race. We talked all about it and how it could really exacerbate itself over the course of a run and burning tires. I'm curious, is there anything you guys can do on pit stop adjustments to this car, or is it a closed box once you start the race?
Pray.
All right. Fair enough.
Do not take tires in this car unless you want to be deciding you want to order pizza in the middle of it. The pizza guy will get there. By the way, the pizza guy will get to your pit box before you actually leave the pit box. You do not want to take tires in this car. So saving tires is definitely a key. And fuel saving is what we're just currently doing right now. I would have to say the biggest thing about this car is just having a setup that just works for you. Kevin and I'm going to peel back the curtain. Kevin, I'm running the same setup as Kevin. Kevin and I are running the exact same setup. We do have setups provided by Makoni Setup Shop for this series, but they were so weird compared to how Kevin and I drive these cars that we just reverted back to his baseline, and it's been working ever since. And we just use this baseline for pretty much every race.
Interesting. A lot of good info there. Zach, I'm glad we talked to this guy while he is driving. We'll let you get back to it, Austin. I know you've got...
Oh, no, I love chatting like this.
I know you're going to have some busy work here as far as some fuel calculations and burning up the calculators. And don't look now, but that Mustang is not far back if you guys make a mistake. So best of luck as this battle goes on. We're going to talk to a couple more drivers.
He's burning fuel. He'll be longer than the pit stop.
Well, it's been fun talking to you regardless. No more mischiefs.
Always fun. Hey, you know what? I'll try, but you never know with me.
Well, sounds good. Austin Knight running in the third spot. We'll be talking to Kevin Parrish here shortly as you take a look quickly at Eric Weiland going by David Trumbley, and rather the other way around. Trumbley going around David Clark. That's interesting. Clark falling back. I wonder if he's trying to save his stuff a little bit.
He could be trying to save his stuff, or he might have just used it up a little bit too much too early on in the race. I mean, we've still got about 21 minutes left in this race, and I'm a little sad I didn't get to talk to Austin a little bit. I was going to ask him to order us a pizza, because I'm a little hungry over here. But
what kind of pizza?
Just a cheese pizza. Just a lovely, plain old cheese pizza.
No, my girlfriend's from Jersey, and she, everything they do there is plain pizza up there, I guess. That's what they like, plain or white pizza. And I don't understand the concept of being an adult and ordering a cheese pizza. I don't know. Not for me, I guess, but I'll take pepperoni and olives any day.
Well, we all have our preferences, and
as long as it's not pineapple.
Oh, I think you and I can both agree on that one. My girlfriend's from New York, and she would kill me if I did that. But a little bit of a battle.
Wow.
So close between Baker and Wheeler as they go through turn 10. A bit of a switchback, but a block, a loose bit of a snap, and Wheeler is now a few more tenths behind Baker going down the front straightaway with 20 minutes left to go in this race.
The cat's all right. They've got about a 3/4 second gap up to Andrew Baker here, going a little bit out of turn number 1, but plenty of time to draft here on throttle from turn 1 to turn number 5. So quite a ways for that 60 car to go and drive back up to that group. I do want to quickly go back and highlight somebody who just recently pitted. That's going to be Dustin Sluter in car 15. Recently pitting, taking just a bit of fuel, although a bit more fuel than our race leaders are going to be taking, because Dustin's been on his own for this race at this point. Really just burning fuel, running on his own, nobody to draft off of, and in a much different situation. Let's dial him up quickly and see how the driver of the 15 is doing. Dustin, it's been an interesting race, a quiet race for you. What's going on back there?
Oh man, just hanging out. I got tangled up with with another driver at the beginning. They spun out, I don't remember, the Oreo car, and caught a 4X, and I decided to short pit, thinking that I had a little bit of damage. I feel like I'm losing pace on the straightaways to that group that was racing in front of me, and apparently I didn't have any damage. So I think I'm down a little bit of horsepower because I'm only losing down the straightaways. Corner-wise, it looks like we're picking up a little bit of time, but so I guess right now we're just going to ride this thing out.
And of course, mistakes are certainly possible for those drivers ahead. What's the big thing for you behind the wheel to make sure you can try to capitalize on any potential mistakes?
Oh man, from now on, I mean, it's me versus the racetrack, so it's just going to be just a matter of running smooth, make no mistakes, just kind of, coming through a corner here. Just make sure I'm hitting my marks, and that's it. I mean, that's the only way I'm going to catch them. You know, I think through this pit cycle, I should come out maybe about 5 to 5.5 seconds once they cycle through their pit stops, unless I screwed something up. So that's kind of the goal, is just to be smooth, hit my marks, and hopefully be able to run them down. Hopefully they start racing a little bit and slow up.
Well, they definitely have not stopped racing. Quick question before we let you go. How about this car in warmer track conditions like we have today, over 100 degrees on track? Big boxy muscle car with a big burly V8 under the hood, and pretty small tires, all things considered, for a big car this size.
Yeah, you know, the contact patch is kind of small in these. A lot of body roll. Really though, I would rather race here than Charlotte like we did last month, just because Charlotte was tough in these big body cars. This is a little bit easier to be smooth in and out. It's not quite as technical. Just wish I was up there drafting with those guys, you know.
Well, Dustin, it's good talking to you. We're going to get back up to that racing ahead of you because it is that much fun, but good to check in here with 15 or so minutes to go. Best of luck here as this season goes on.
Cheers, guys. You guys take care.
It's going to be a rough go for Dustin the rest of the afternoon, but still plenty of reason to stay in the race, and I'm glad that he's doing so far, as he's 13 seconds back of Ryan Campbell, who pitted last lap from the 5th position, leaving David Clark take over 5th spot as he's now passed Eric Weiland once again. And Zach, these guys are really having some fun. They've been back and forth this last lap of racing.
Yeah, I'm just worried that they're burning up their tires and burning a lot of fuel. These guys are poking out and punching the holes in the air. Right now, Clark is leading the group, which means he's punching the hole in the air for everybody else. So he's burning a lot more fuel than everybody else is. He's not being able to save his stuff. Everyone's going to just be able to sit behind him, take that draft. And really, it's Clark and Weiland who are just kind of walking away from Trumbley and Baker at the moment. But they seem to kind of catch back up to each other every couple of laps, and they start to reel each other in as we got another move here as Weiland's looking to the inside of Clark to take that spot away going into turn 1.
Down the front stretch into turn number 1, the 90. There goes Weiland back on the inside. The black and gold number 10 making that pass once again. But don't look now. Here comes the 16 of David Clark back on the outside. And Trumbley now filling that gap inside of David Clark. That's going to make things interesting up the hill.
Yeah, he's going from outside to inside, now back to outside on the last corner of the S's. Who's going to have the draft, though? I believe, yeah, Weiland's going to stay low and pick up Trumbley, but now he's going to defend the middle. They might have a 3-wide situation going into the carousel.
Trumbley with a run, going to go up the inside. I'm surprised the door was left open there by Weiland. Maybe trusting Clark a little more as Trumbley sends it in for 5th spot and takes that position away.
Swung a little wide there to clear himself off the nose.
Oh!
That is one thing that you have to watch out for on road racing is breaking into the corner and breaking speeding wise. Trumbley into the grass. Side by side now, up through the gears. Are they going to hold it? Trumbley is going to clear. Clark looking low, and they're going to be side by side going to the next corner.
Very close there through turn 7. All of these drivers all over the place. These tires are certainly worn out at this point. Trumbley with the big send in 5, then again in 6. Weiland coming over, moving over in front of the 16 car, and now the 16 of Clark kind of having to shy off the gas again. Here comes Cat Wheeler up the inside. Car 60 making a move and moving Clark back to the 8th position. That is big.
Yeah, Clark swung wide there coming off of turn number 9, and he lost a little bit of ground, a little bit of momentum coming off the corner. But now Weiland is right on the back bumper of Trumbley going into turn 11. Do we see him set up a run here? Gets that right front tire pointed onto that apex straight off the corner, using all the track, all the momentum he can. Do we see a move going into turn 1? He's taking a look. There it is, taking the look going into turn 1, side by side. Big lunge on the brakes.
But watch the crossover. Yeah, wow! Weiland got way deep in there, tried to shut it down with the gear shift, and loses a ton of time for it. Trumbley went sailing on by. What a checkup. That was incredible as Andrew Baker's into the pit lane.
Yeah, the 5-car battle turns to 4. Andrew Baker,
really 3.
He's probably just saying, hey, I'm going to let you guys sort your stuff out, and I'm going to try to undercut you a little bit. So they're going to see how all of that works out as Clark is taking a look to the inside of Cat Wheeler and going into the carousel side by side. Bit of a send on the brakes. Ooh, just trying to hang it on that apex. Going to clear Cat Wheeler. Eye set forward on Trumbley for that 5th place spot.
While they settle out for just a moment, let's go up now and talk to Kevin Parrish. They're approaching a possible pit stop. We may even catch Parrish in the midst of a pit stop. Let's grab driver number 69 this evening from Aerokinetics. Let's get Kevin Parrish, who is racing in the lead. Kevin, you've led the entire season so far, I think, melting into race number 2 here, but you've got some hungry drivers behind you. How are you going to keep them at bay?
Yeah, I'm sitting here waiting for that move. They're playing it nice and respectful right now, but as the laps come down, I'm keeping an eye on that rear view mirror.
And we spoke with Austin Knight a little bit ago, who shared that you guys might be running pretty similar setups, which is helping you both right now, as opposed to other setups that are out there. What is that doing for you? Is it doing anything with the tires specifically? Is it more camber, less camber? Anything you can share?
Yeah, it's preserving the tires. We'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. Well, as we preserve the tires, try to save a little bit of gas here, I'm sure. It's difficult to save the gas when the 2 drivers that are closest to you at speed are right on your bumper and don't want to pass. So how are you saving fuel in that car?
Oh, we're praying.
Seems to be a common theme throughout this top 3, Andrew.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Karen, Karen, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. I'm mixing your names, I think. Karen, I did it again. Kevin Parrish, I'm not sure. But Kevin, there we go. We'll get it right one of these days. Best of luck to you with these last 11 and a half minutes. It sounds like there's some praying that you'll save gas and praying that I'll get names right up here in the booth today. But congratulations on the run so far. Hopefully it's completed here in 11 minutes.
Thank you.
He's definitely a man who is hard at work right now. Not a man of too many words.
Short for words, but you can usually tell when drivers are quite focused, they don't really have the most to say.
Well, we did have some trouble just a moment ago for David Clark, and we're going to take a look back at it. This was about a minute ago, right when we started talking to Kevin. Big contact, it looks like, with Cat Wheeler. Here it is in turn 7, maybe. Cat on the inside, David Clark outside. And take a look here, out of turn number 7. Maybe it's in turn 8.
I mean, they were pretty close together coming out of the corner, and single file down. Cat Wheeler takes a look to the inside. Late on the brakes. Nothing here.
Oh, no.
The wash up. Just, oh, my goodness. Ooh, that's going to be some engine damage, more than likely. Cat Wheeler gets a little bit of nose damage as well on that right front headlight.
Cat was pretty aggressive the whole race leading up to that, as we've got a pass now. Rafael Franco giving a spot away. We'll check into that after this second replay of this incident between the 16 and 60 cars. Cat was pretty aggressive on braking, and I think a little bit unsure as well. It might have been a lot of rear rebound, maybe sticking the rear of the car up in the air, kind of getting it a little bit squirrely. When the nose drops down like that, it's a lot of front-end grip, but the rear tends to kind of get squirrely and come out from underneath you, and they had a little bit more room to go, but a little bit of netcode brings those two cars together.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to make a move, especially take that look so late going into the braking zone. It really tends to upset the car a little bit, and it doesn't help with your rotation. As we move on now, taking a look at Austin Knight and Rafael Franco. Just over 9 minutes ago, I think Franco just got a little too deep going into that last corner instead of a big run here for Austin Knight. As you can see here, going down the front straightaway, takes that look early on. They're at least side by side going to the start-finish line, and, well, I think Franco just let him have it right there in the effort to not spend too long fighting with each other and, well, to not lose that lead car and be able to stay close to each other during pit stops. Clark into the box.
Clark coming in for that fast repair. Very important for car 16 with all that damage from the contact with Cat Wheeler, but David will get back out there here shortly, just behind Dustin Sluter. So interesting how it's all going to work out. Logan Keys, Cat Wheeler, they've all now pitted. Eric Weiland left still on the racetrack in car 10, racing with David Tremblay, and that's what this battle has kind of become. Just these two cars for that 5th, 6th position. And Tremblay was very squirrely there into the braking, still a little bit wide out of the corner, but Weiland waiting as our leaders have spread apart quite a bit.
Just a little bit. You got about 0.8 of a second down to Austin Knight, and then it's 2.2 seconds from Parrish to Franco.
Oh.
I'm not... Ooh, that was very, very close to the wall. Talk about using all the racetrack right there from Austin Knight. But I'm not sure what happened to Rafael Franco. He has dropped off quite considerably. So unless he can find a way to close that gap back up, I do not think he is going to have his horse in this race anymore, which is quite unfortunate because they were putting on one heck of a show for that lead.
I'd have to imagine tires are the culprit there between those drivers now, a little bit off the pace. Here's that battle for 5th still going on. Pit stops, again, looming. We're into the final 8 minutes of a 45-minute race. These drivers still have to pit at least, well, I say at least once, still have to pit once for fuel. They still have to top off just a little bit as Weiland is way deep into turn 1. That was close.
Talk about cutting it very, very close going into turn 1. And that's going to cost him a lot of time going up through the S's, but still quite an open track to try and draft back up and catch up. Oh, wow, no, that is a big gap, and he's breaking up the hill.
Yeah, something's wrong there for Eric Weiland.
Cutting it slow.
Not sure what's going on here.
Maybe having a technical problem. It seems like he's getting it back up to speed. No, he's just kind of holding it. 3rd, 4th gear. Still rolling really, really slow.
Really concerning. Might have brakes stuck on, potentially?
It's quite the possibility. Is his brake light still on, maybe? As we see Keys go by there in the 43.
He's stuck about 85, 86 miles per hour in a straight line.
Looks like his brakes are just
Oh, there we go.
on.
Brakes just went away. Might be okay again.
Back up into 4th gear.
Never mind.
Brakes are back on.
I think maybe the brakes are sticking on the 10 car. Back off.
Seems like he's getting up through the gears, going into the corner. Letting it roll a lot there. Brakes on. Brakes are still on coming off the corner.
Yeah, I think the brakes are sticking here on the 10 car all of a sudden.
That is quite the unfortunate circumstances. Having such a good run tonight. And you can see here going down the straightaway into the next corner. There's the brake lights. Easy down into the corner, hooking the apex, and brake lights are off. So it seems like he might be getting the situation fixed. I'm not quite sure. Our leader is stretching out another 3/10 over Austin Knight. Kevin Parrish, 1.1 seconds in front of Austin Knight, and then another 1.5 down to Rafael Franco. All while the Mustang sitting in the 4th place spot, about another 9.2 seconds off Kevin Parrish.
You briefly saw Ryan Campbell and Cat Wheeler. They had a moment, and Cat loses that position for the time being, drops down into 9th position. Dustin Sluter now into the top 10 with the removal of David Clark from those top positions. A rough go of things for Clark. We were going to talk to David Clark. That was another driver that was on our list of drivers that were okay talking to us while racing, much like in SRX, but we won't bother him after that large incident with Cat Wheeler. Won't bother a driver that's probably a little bit hot under the collar currently. But here is Eric Weiland.
You can see him in the box. It's quite hard to notice. Blinking, you'll miss it, but his driver actually left the car, so you can tell that he's actually gotten out of his car at the moment and is working on his issue and just trying to figure it out. He took it behind the wall there for a second and blinked back onto pit road, but I think his night is pretty much over.
And you see our leaders getting through some lap traffic, passing Elliott Lange and Blair Patterson recently. Patterson has not yet pitted, but should still have to. I wonder when these drivers will, if it'll be maybe this lap or the next lap. We're down to about 2 laps to go. Will they pit at all? Well, here comes Austin Knight. Interesting that Rafael Franco keeps going. Kevin Parrish keeps going. Are they trying to stretch it all the way to the end? It looks like it as Austin Knight comes down the pit lane for fuel.
It's going to be an interesting strategy. Kevin Parrish and Rafael Franco are going to have a little bit less fuel in their car, but they are going to have a longer stop. I think that's what Austin Knight is planning on here by shortcutting them just a little bit, taking less fuel with what he still has in the tank to have a lesser stop. Let's see him here in the box. Not too much time spent in the box, and
wow,
6,
a lot of
7,
time
8,
compared to what I thought it would be.
In 10 seconds, he's off and away.
A long time to dump 2 gallons.
That is quite a long time.
That is a slow flow for sure. Zach Lovelace into the pit lane as well, leaving. Similar time spent, although a little bit less time. That's interesting. Austin Knight must have had the fuel number a little bit wrong, because that's less time for Lovelace than it was for Knight. That is huge.
That is going to cost him quite a bit of time.
Part of it might have been in the damage, as the damage has been fixed. There might have been an extra second or two thrown in there for the fast repair, but Kevin Parrish is your race leader far and away now. 3 seconds over Rafael Franco, which means no more fuel savings as well for Franco. That's going to be a bit of a spanner thrown in the cogs, if you will, just a little bit, as Parrish will have the white flag this next time by. Do they have to pit?
It's going to be very, very close. I'm not sure if they'll make it or not, as Cat Wheeler is in the pit lane now. About 10 seconds, same as Austin Knight, he is away. And, well, Andrew, I think we need to do a little bit of praying, like Kevin Parrish said, and see if he is actually going to be able to make it here to the end.
Rafael's slow.
He is very slow. He's about 5 seconds behind now.
Here we go, into the pit lane, coming to the white flag. Imagine that, taking the white flag in the pit lane. Franco's gonna try to go for it. That's why he's been slow, so slow, Zach. Franco is going to go for it, and so long as he makes it on fuel, this is a race-winning move in the making. Rafael Franco not pitting, going straight on past the pit lane, as here's your race leader, previous race leader, Kevin Parrish, down to the pit lane on the final lap of racing. Never do you ever want to pit on the final lap. That is heartbreak potentially for Parrish as he watched his competitor go sailing on by. 9 seconds in the box. Is Trumbley going to pit this time? No. Trumbley, similarly to Franco, going to try to run this race without stopping. Franco down to the carousel this time. Can he make it on fuel?
Now,
He's coasting and saving.
Air, presented by Whiplash Simcams, and Kevin Parrish got out about 3 seconds in front of Austin Knight. It's a 24-second gap all the way back to Parrish. You can see that gap slowly decreasing down to 23 seconds. He is doing everything he can to get this car to the finish line without having to take a pit stop. And like you said, Andrew, this could be a race-winning move potentially. I'm not sure if he'll have the chance to be able to make it. That gap is decreasing ever so closely, all the way down to 23 seconds now.
Rafael Franco, 23 seconds back to Parrish. He can keep using that time. Meanwhile, here's a battle between Trumbley and Lovelace. Trumbley, I think, will let that position go. It's still a win for him, quite frankly, with the strategy regardless. He's way ahead of Logan Keys, Ryan Campbell, all those guys that he was racing earlier. So this is a big-time move for David Trumbley no matter what, and certainly now getting that free over the curbing. Just let Lovelace drive away. But Parrish into turn number 8 as there is Rafael Franco. Just 2 corners left to go for the Brazilian to get it done with no pit stop here at Watkins Glen. Rafael Franco is going to use some NASCAR fuel strategy to eliminate a pit stop and go to victory lane in New York. What an exhilarating win for car 36. Wow, job well done.
I think he just ran out of gas coming over as the gap decreases back to Parrish.
Perfect.
It's perfect fuel mileage. That's one of the things you love to see is Parrish 21 seconds back, 22 now, coming across the line. That is the gap to your second place finisher. Your third place finisher, Austin Knight, right behind him. And then it's another 5 seconds back to Lovelace and Trumbley. And then another 9 seconds back to the 43 of Keys to round out your top 6 cars. That was fun to watch. That was amazing to see how these guys are playing that fuel strategy.
What a twist there at the end. Did not see that coming. Ryan Campbell will go home tonight, 7th position. 22 seconds ahead of this guy, Dustin Sluter, who maintains throughout the back end of this race, pitted that early stop after the crash that he was involved in, and you know it ends up looking up compared to what it would have been. I mean, 8th place compared to 11th or 12th or 13th. That's certainly a nice day at the office for the 15 car. David Clark will come home 9th, still maintaining over Cat Wheeler, Eric Wineland, and others. So when it's all said and done, incredible race, incredible finish. Rafael Franco, you, sir, deserve an award. I guess he'll get an award. It's going to be a race win.
Absolutely perfect fuel strategy to be able to make it to the end. Personally, I'm impressed. That was pretty impressive to be able to outsmart everybody else and just make that fuel last to get to the end.
Somewhere back there is Ryan Lange finishing this race in position number 12, while Rafael Franco will go to victory lane in car number 36 this evening. Brent Keith never made the start, but what a win for this guy in car 36. Incredible stuff. And, well, congratulations to all of Brazil taking home the win this evening. Really, job well done from car 36. Let's take a look at our unofficial race results this evening, and it looks like we've had a graphic malfunction. It's becoming all too common this late these days, but regardless, a graphic malfunction will be able to show you the top 10 at the very least. Up front, Rafael Franco in car 36, Kevin Parrish there in second, Austin Knight, Zach Lovelace, David Trumbley, the rest of your top 5, Logan Keys, Ryan Campbell, Dustin Sluter back to 8th position, then finally David Clark and Cat Wheeler. We went through most of the rest of the results. Of course, Eric Wineland in 11th, Ryan Lange in 12th, Elliott Lange 13th, and Blair Patterson 14th, Andrew Baker 15th, and finally Patrick DeSaulnier did start this race. It did not finish it, only completed a few laps out there on the racetrack. It was a job well done, certainly, by car number 36. I don't know if we'll be speaking with the Brazilian, but a really, really cool way for this race to end, Zach. Did not expect that at all.
And neither did I. Just amazing fuel strategy from Rafael Franco to be able to take that car to the end. It's like you said, Andrew, you never want to be pitting on the last lap. It creates such worse problems for you, really, in your overall race strategy. It causes you to need to be able to compensate and make that gap up, but you only have one lap to do it. Sometimes it takes you a little bit to get your tires warm back up and get yourself back into a rhythm. One lap is really tight to be able to do it, but it's just, it had to be done. You had to be able to pit, or otherwise I think Kevin Parrish was just going to end up running out of fuel, and it was still going to be Rafael's race to win anyway.
What was a perfect strategy for Rafael Franco in car number 36, the lone Brazilian, and in fact, I believe the lone non-American in the field. Rafael, perfect fuel strategy. You lead just 2 laps at the end of the race. How long, though, did you have that strategy planned, or was that a decision on the fly?
It wasn't that much of a strategy, I think, because we were talking in the chat and everyone thought it was going to be 23 laps, and I also did, and I was trying to save as much as I could to do the 23 laps. And when it was like 4 laps to go, and I saw that the guys in front started going full gas, and I just felt that maybe I saved more fuel than they did. And if they stopped, I really was expecting them not to, because I thought if everyone runs out of the gas, then maybe I have a bit more. But then it ended up working even better, because the race was 1 lap less than I thought. And I just saw the white flag at the same moment as I saw Kevin stop me. So yeah, I got a bit lucky there too. And I'd just like to thank you guys for hosting this. It's a lot of fun. I really love this car, and can't wait for the next one.
Well, we love seeing you out there on the racetrack, and you mentioned the decision of, do you go for 23 laps, 22 laps? Which one do you plan for? Obviously, the whole race, it sounded like you were thinking it was going to be 23. When did you realize it'd be 22 laps, and what kind of factors lead it to be either a lap longer or a lap shorter of a race at a timed setting like this?
I didn't realize it was going to be 22 till I saw the white flag, and I really thought I was going to run out of fuel. But I did have, I had like 0.8 of a lap left at the end of the race, so I could get it to the end, but I would lose a lot of time. So as I said, when it was like 4 laps to go, I was saving real hard, and then I decided to go because I saw the guys in front doing it. But yeah, I really didn't know till it was the white flag already, and I didn't practice at all this car. The first time I raced this car on this track was today, and I have a kind of a health condition that causes me a lot of pain, so sometimes I have to stay away from like 1-2 weeks, and that's what happened prior to this race. So when I thank you guys for hosting this, and I know how hard it is to organize this kind of stuff and dealing with a lot of people, and maybe you have no idea, for sometimes someone that has a condition like me that really uses this kind of stuff to keep the mind healthy. So yeah, again, thank you guys.
Mental health, certainly very important. Physical health, almost even more important. Rafael, thanks for being here, genuinely, especially fighting through who knows what. We don't know, and I can only imagine what it's like. Thank you for being here, genuinely. You really do add a lot to this series, especially with this race win this evening. Glad to have you as a part of the Barber Ford Mustang Club. You are certainly appreciated. Congratulations. 2 laps led, a perfect fuel strategy. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks, in a few weeks, in a month actually, at Road Atlanta in September.
Cool, thanks guys.
Rafael Franco from not third position. Started third, actually. So, yeah, technically from third position this evening, Zach goes up there and wins over Kevin Parrish in the second spot. Let's bring in our second place finisher. You see him side by side there with Austin Knight on the cool down, but actually, it looks like Kevin Parrish might be a little frustrated. I don't see him in the Discord anymore, so I think we'll skip right on by Kevin for the time being, then Zach, and go straight to third place, Austin Knight. You wanted to talk to him mid-race? Well, here he is post-race.
Yeah, Austin Knight coming home with the third place finish, and where's my pizza? Because you took one heck of a long stop there compared to the rest of the field. Just kind of tell us what happened there with that 10-second stop.
I'm a very careful guy. And my entire fuel calculator was having a existential crisis of saying, hey, you have 2 laps left. No, you have 3 laps left. No, you have 2 laps left. No, you have 4 laps left. I was like, what is going on here? And, well, technology sucks. And I should have done what Raphael does and just go for it.
Might have been a sound strategy as he was able to finish about 25 seconds ahead of you guys. And
yeah, none of us knew that time that it was going to end that early. And it was, it was well played by him, so good job. Kevin and I, we both were just like, I don't know, if we stay out, we're gonna look like we have eggs on our faces, and I don't want to lose to a freaking cow car again.
Well, that cow car ended up finishing behind you guys in the 4th place position, and you guys were still able to bring home second and third on the podium. So just really, how did the race strategy end up playing out for you guys? Were you able to learn anything moving forward and be able to apply anything for the next race?
Well, we're not actually Kevin and I are not a team, by the way. We are just good friends. We're just friends. We're just friends, okay? It's not a thing. We're just friends.
Just friends.
Okay, so the race strategy into this was mainly I did not do a single lap on this track until about 10 minutes left in practice. I got a few good laps in there, and I was just expecting, qualifying 5th, because that's about where my true pace is. That Q lap that last minute Q lap, that was on race fuel, by the way. That was on a full tank, no draft whatsoever. I just lucked myself into there. And I'm just like, all right, just going to start the race, not do anything crazy. And if there's a gap build up, sure, that's good. And sure enough, 4th place, somebody was riding Kevin throughout entire qualifying. They had a little bit of a mistake in our mirror, and that really just separated us. And once I saw that separation, I'm just like, okay, me and Raphael and Kevin, we just started sandbagging, and I think all of us had a fuel calculator open at some point, because it is Watkins Glen. It's not like Charlotte, where none of us really needed a fuel calculator for that. I think I finished like 5 laps of fuel left at Charlotte, so it was all good there. Here it was a different story. I kind of knew it was going to be like that, but there was no real sound strategy heading into this race. It was just go in, have fun, and don't go bowling into other cars. And don't miss shifts, which I still need to work on.
Well, even with the missed shift, you still made it work tonight. You brought it home P3, even only after turning about a couple of laps in 10 minutes of qualifying and a qualifying lap on race fuel. So I think you did, honestly, a pretty good job tonight bringing it home P3. Obviously, you're pretty happy with the Moo car finishing behind you. But, yeah, just a great, solid race. And, well, we look forward to seeing you next month for the next race.
Yeah, thank you. And I also want to thank everybody at MRP. I used to drive for them. You're noticing a different livery right now. We decided to part ways. I wanted to focus more on my sports car driving, and I want to thank all the teams that have me in their inbox, especially Racing Forces, Hydro Race Racing Forces.
Absolutely, and I would
you can always join Firelight.
Well, there's another one to the inbox. Who's going to pay Austin the most? Let's find out.
I'll pay you a little bit if you bring me a pizza next week, because you did take quite a bit long of a stop.
I didn't take tires, okay? I said you'll get a pizza if I take tires.
The stop was still pretty long, though, Andrew, wasn't it?
My name's Austin. Oh,
yeah.
Andrew's in.
10.6 seconds. That's quite a long time, Austin. Got to find some way to take a little more risk, maybe. I don't know, but it's good talking to you, Austin. It really is. And
I had a team on the line. I had to answer a text, okay?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, had to send off one of those emails.
Yeah, it's like, hey, quick race, BRB.
Well, Austin, thanks for being here. Congratulations on third place. Hopefully it's a couple of spots further up the board here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Road Atlanta and Road Atlanta.
There you go. Third place, Austin Knight this evening. I do want to mention that this has been a really solid league to get going, and it sounds like we're creating families. I said earlier in the broadcast, Ryan Lange and Elliot Lange were brothers. Zach, I have been corrected. They are not brothers. I don't know if they're just surprisingly two of the same cloth, or two people cut from the same cloth as far as names go, and completely unrelated, or if they're cousins or father or son, or son and father. I don't know, but they have the same last name. They're in the same league with the same, Mustang. I don't know how you manage that with a name that unique. It's not like it's Smith or something. It's two guys with the same name of Lange. That's relatively uncommon, but I don't know. I'm surprised. Apparently they're not brothers. Zach, I've been corrected.
Best to not question it and just move on.
Well, it certainly has been a fun season to get going. Seriously, it is like one big happy family, and the guy who leads it all is Dustin Sluter. He's down in the broadcast waiting room waiting to talk to us, and sounds like he was in the middle of a comment or something. But Dustin, a really job well done so far, getting this season going, getting this series going. It's like one big happy family, and we still have so much racing to look forward to.
Oh, it's funny. The only reason I popped in the broadcast radio room was because Raphael was still chilling down there, so I wanted to go talk to him and like just welcome him and just chat about like, all right, so race strategy, right? Like, are we gonna run out of fuel? Are we not gonna run out of fuel? Like, it was kind of right on the edge of, everybody was kind of on a different. All right, are we gonna pit? Is it gonna go 22 laps? Is it gonna go 23 laps? It was just one of those like, if it goes 23, everybody's got to pit. If it goes 22. Raphael can make it, like it was wild, man. Yeah, it was a good race though, real good race. I had a lot of fun. I'm grinning.
And we're gonna have maybe an even better race at Road Atlanta. Such a fun, challenging, punishing circuit. How do you get through the S's at Sunrise for the first time without having an issue?
Well, I think that so based on that track orientation, I think we're gonna have a little bit of problem with the Sunrise blinding you in certain corners. I haven't practiced there yet. I think the S's are. I think anybody that's run it are an SOB. They suck. And I think in this car, it's gonna be really, really tough. I think the S's are gonna be a slow down to speed up. Kind of track.
Well, this series as a whole is very much appreciated, all the drivers within it as well. Dustin, thanks for everything you do behind the scenes to make the Barber Ford Mustang Club happen. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the season.
Likewise, man. I really appreciate you guys coming on board, and we're going to get you guys on board for the rest of the season. And just, your family's in our thoughts and prayers, I think, as a group as a whole, is thinking of you. Wish the best for you, and, Thank you for all you do.
It's certainly appreciated. I got an update, by the way, just a few minutes ago. It sounds like everybody's okay. Those who went and traveled while I had to stay back and watch Andrew V, it sounds like everything's okay. That's what matters. So, definitely unfortunate situation, left picking up pieces of a totaled car, but that is what happens sometimes in life. And you know what? Here's a fun one you'll like, Dustin. They were driving a Ford. That's why they're okay.
Oh, I was gonna say. I hope it's not too soon, but I know where you can get another one, and I know where they can get at least a $500 discount just for being a family member associated with the Barber Ford Mustang Club. I think I got an idea where they could go if they're interested. If not, I understand the logistics. Go to Barber Ford. Shop at barberford.net. You can shop there 24/7.
It is a bit of a drive from South Carolina to Michigan, but once everything smooths over, I'll absolutely mention it to them because a Ford got them through this. I'm sure a Ford will keep getting them through. Congratulations once again to Rafael Franco, and congratulations to you, Dustin. Some spots made up over the course of the race. Attrition certainly set in. Hopefully we're talking to you more the rest of the season.
Yeah, there was a lot of pit stops. A lot of guys took tires that probably shouldn't have and took a little more fuel than they shouldn't have. So, yeah, that definitely helped out. But appreciate it. Once again, Andrew, I'm so happy your family's okay, first and foremost. And then yeah, we'll see you in a month's time. And don't forget to tune in Monday as we got we got late model stocks going where?
Thompson. We're going to talk a whole lot about that. Yes.
Oh man, it's going to be a good one.
That's right. Yeah, we've got a lot coming up this week. Well, you know what, Dustin? We'll leave in here. You can do some of the plugs, it sounds like. You've got this thing down. Sunday evening, in 2 days' time, August the 13th, we go to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park with the Noble Can-Am Series. And then Monday, where do we go, Dustin?
We go to Thompson with the late model stock strength of field. It's the Elite Performance Industries Monday night short track series starting at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss it. It's going to be a great show.
And Zach, where do we go Tuesday?
It's D-Line Racing League going to New Smyrna Speedway all the way down in Florida at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To Elevated Performance, obviously sponsoring. What was that catchphrase you keep saying every single week, Andrew?
To rise, you must elevate, and somebody will be elevating a trophy here very soon in that series. Week number 11 coming up here at New Smyrna on Tuesday evening, August the 15th. So time is ticking. That's 11 out of 12, by the way, I should say. It's round 10 of 12 for the late models for Short Track Mondays as we pick up that coverage as well. We just picked them up at USA this past week, going on into the back end of this season, 2023 season number 3. And hey, it's round 6 of 9, so even time is running out for the Noble Can-Am Series. A lot of championship battles coming up. We're only just getting started here at Barber Ford Mustang Club. There we go. I almost went into Barber Motorsports Park, which is where we'll be later on in the season, I think for round 4. But Zach, it has been a pleasure as always. A fun one here at Watkins Glen. A fun, twisty finish that we did not expect at all with fuel. That is always appreciated. I always love fuel mileage races.
Absolutely. Fuel mileage races tend to produce a lot of great racing. And, you know, we saw it here tonight with Raphael just being able to take that win away. And it's going to be interesting going into Road Atlanta, especially with a lot of those blind corners, seeing how these guys handle. And I'm certainly excited to see how this league progresses moving forward, and it's definitely going to produce some great points battles getting towards the end of the season.
Exactly right, and you don't want to miss it right here on Pit Stop TV, or in Raphael's case, lack of Pit Stop TV.
I like it. Somebody's been studying on the dad joke flashcards. I like it. Very, very nice. A big shout out to our partners here with the series, Barber Ford at www.barberford.net, BK Paints on Facebook, and of course Admin Box on social media. Appreciation goes out to all parties. A big shout out as well to our partners here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Media Simcams, ATVO, and CC's Business. That'll get it done for us this evening from Watkins Glen, New York. Thanks for tuning in, and a big thanks to the parties behind the scenes in audio, ATVO, Whiplash Media Simcams, OBS, and iRacing.com. For myself, Zach Murtis, and Dustin Sluter in the booth, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next time out. I gotta think, 4 weeks from now, Road Atlanta. I think it's September 8th. We'll see you guys back out on the racetrack. Until then, have a great night.
If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is one entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.